Welcome to Inspired Changemakers, a podcast about all the amazing things people are doing to make the world a better place. This podcast is about creating change and the moments that inspired our guests to activate. My name is Julia Healy, and I'm the CEO of United Charitable. Stay tuned to be inspired. All right. Well, Tammy and Meagan, thank you so much for coming here today, and welcome to the Inspired Changemakers podcast. Meagan is a wife and mother and has been a high school counselor in Loudoun County for over 9 years. Since 2019, she has been hooked on CrossFit, received certification, and now serves as a coach at her local CrossFit gym, Widow CrossFit. She's a lifelong lover of athletics, physical activities, and is dedicated to show individuals the path to success in and out of the gym. Welcome.
Thank you.
And then Tammy is a wife and mother of two, and a CrossFit coach at Shenandoah CrossFit in Winchester, Virginia. Happens to be my gym. Shortly into her CrossFit journey, she changed her ways of life forever. She dove right into getting many certifications, continuing her education in fitness and nutrition with a mission to not only just change her life, but others as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to start out with, what do you guys like about CrossFit?
I don't like monotony and I like to just have things changing up a lot and not get stuck in like the same thing over and over again. So I like how, I'll say 4 years ago, I did not like the surprises of it, but I like that now. I like just trying to figure out how it's all going to go before it even happens, and then seeing, if I did that right. And I just like how it challenges me in skills that I don't know. It also allows me to play around in my strengths, and then also just seeing that progress from, month to month, year to year, and just seeing how I get to kind of learn new things and be 40 and do a handstand, So
Awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, in the beginning, it was the coach. It was someone who's taking their time to show me things that I had never experienced in my life, and they were patient, and it was nice just to have someone explain things to you. And as Meagan said, as I progress through my years of CrossFit, it doesn't end. Like, there's always room to grow. It's not like, a video game where you can complete a level. Your levels are just continuous in the growth, and it's measurable, and you can see your success, and you have people there to celebrate that with. And when you share that with someone and they respect what you just did, even no matter how little, they understand how exciting that was for you.
Yeah, the community is really a big part of it. I've been on vacation and worked out at a gym by myself, and it's the worst. So just having people to goof around with. But yeah, that's also just brings me back every morning.
And it's funny because when I started the podcast and I decided that really talking to all the people that have inspired me throughout my journey, inspired change makers, the professional athletes, and just the day-to-day people that really go out of their way to make a difference in people's life, your both names came right to mind. And so when I started my CrossFit, and you were literally the first class that I took, Meagan, and I was like, what is this?
Started with Murph.
I did, because one of my friends was like, oh, it's fine. You'll be fine. You can just do half. I'm like, okay, but half is still half. Like, half is not easy. But it was really just really funny in the sense that then I was like, okay, well, what is this? What is CrossFit? Is this something that I can stick to? Is this something that I can get jazzed about? And really the basics, the way that the patience you have, Meagan, in teaching me the lifts. And I remember going, my elbows don't come like that.
I remember that.
I was like, they don't go like that. And then I was doing front squats easily yesterday. So it's really interesting. And I just really appreciate people that go out of their way to make people believe that they can change and that everything is attainable. And so I was so excited to have you guys both on, because then I got another surprise. I think it was February you guys competed against each other.
Yeah,
I believe
and
so.
So,
it was Valentine's Day. Yep.
So I moved, right? So I moved from Ashburn to Berryville. And so I went from Widow CrossFit to Shenandoah. And all of a sudden I see on Tammy's Instagram, I was like, oh, Tammy and Meagen are together and competed against each other. And it was just such a moment for me because it was like the two women that really have told me over and over again that if you keep trying, you can get there. And the improvements that I have seen are like, CrossFit does. It's insane. Some of the things that I didn't think that I would be able to accomplish, and now that I can.
Yeah.
But it was great to see you guys on that podium. So why do you guys compete?
Oh, wow. You want to go first on that one?
I went first last time.
I think for me, it was a personal performance to see how much have I grown in fitness. So in the beginning, it was just a workout for me in the beginning. And I'm similar to Meagen. I have an athletic background with just hockey. And that wasn't even a school sport. That was outside of school. That was just a company that was available at the time where you just went and registered and played hockey. And that was a huge part of my life. So I was used to going to tournaments with hockey. You know, we had playoffs and everything else. So that drive is kind of still in me. It got lost for a while, and I'm sure we'll get to that. I lost that. I lost that competitive edge on what am I able to do? How am I able to get through difficult situations and tasks that I don't even know? I mean, some of the competitions we go to, the final workout isn't even announced till in that moment.
That's crazy.
So how can you prepare yourself for the unexpected or the unknown and then gather yourself and literally execute it within 15 minutes, if that, of them announcing it? So I like the overall challenge of the competitions of the control and discipline that I can give to myself and execute the task that was asked. And then secondly, I was just talking about this in the gym. I have done quite a few competitions over the last 2 years possibly, and the people that I am meeting and I run into them constantly.
Meagen,
I love it. I can now go to a competition and I recognize multiple people and I'm fist bumping them, and you know, we're competing against each other, and it doesn't matter because we both know what we're about to do, and either way it's going to be amazing.
Meeting people and then finding other connections. I mean, Tammy and I competed against each other, not knowing we had Julia as a connection. And then we were literally side by side and point by point to the very end. And that like adrenaline is a big part of it. And competitions kind of, you know, remind me when I'm like not feeling doing a workout and I'm like, I'm tired, or not taking care of myself. Competitions remind me to take care of myself or give me that motivation to work towards something.
I'd like to thank United Charitable for sponsoring today's Inspired Changemakers podcast. United Charitable is a national nonprofit that focuses on guiding you on your charitable journey. Whether you like to simply streamline your giving or you like to create your own charitable initiative, United Charitable has the knowledge and resources to support you. If you'd like to learn more, check out the link in our bio.
I'm very goal oriented, so I need goals to work toward. I mean, I'm not going to just work out just to work out, right? And I'm going to work out because I have a goal with it. I have a goal of a skill I want to learn, or I have a competition I'm preparing for, and or I just want to be a granny CrossFitter, and so I want to stay in shape until I'm retired.
I love that.
So that's my retirement plan. But like Tammy grew up, just competition was my introduction to athletics. I wasn't just active. I mean, I've always been active and on all that stuff, but you know, the competition really was my like big thrust into like higher level athletics, with high school sports, but then I was able to walk onto rowing team at Clemson. And so like being able to take it up a notch, and then, just want and really enjoyed just that, what I got from that, and knowing that I pushed myself so far beyond where I even thought I could go. And so having that experience, like I'm always seeking that now, looking for where are those limits going to just be destroyed, right? And so CrossFit does that. Competitions do that, pushing through even more in the competition space.
I felt blessed, honestly, to have her next to me.
It helped.
Because we drove each other to do harder and move faster than we probably normally would have.
You're yelling slow down in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I literally, that's how we met. I looked at her and I was like, why did you go so fast? You made me work hard and I didn't sign up for that today. But actually I did sign up for that today. So she kind of called me out on it like, well, hey, we're at a competition. So the goal is to go, to where you can take it. And that's what she made me do that day. And I felt blessed by that.
Same.
And, I admire that so much. And I've seen you guys work out. So I know how hard you push yourselves and your skill level. And it's quite admirable. But then why did you want to take that and be a coach?
Because I didn't personally start there. I started overweight. As Meagan and I both just said, I started out my youth as an athlete. Didn't really know, was never taught the right or wrong on fueling my body for the activity that I was about to do. So I ended up becoming a mother of 2 children in my 30s. That for me is when my body composition changed the most, and I was not identifying anymore with the body that I was in. I never saw myself as overweight, but activities that I was unable to do with my children.
Yeah.
So for me, when a friend, Mary Lisa is her name, said, hey, let's try this thing called CrossFit, I was like, sure. And I'm not a Googler or anything like that. So I didn't even know what I was signing up for.
Neither did I.
Right? So I went and I was like, oh my, I instantly fell in love.
I thought it was like Orange Theory, by the way. I thought it was like Burn Boot Camp, Orange Theory.
I'd never been to any of that.
Yeah.
So.
Or like Cycle class. It's, you know what I mean? I was just like, it's just like one of those, it's a kettlebell thing, right? That's what I thought.
Yes. So I don't know what I even thought. But that particular coach, her name was Lisa, was my first CrossFit coach. I don't think she realized how much she significantly impacted my life, even if it's just one sentence out of the book of life that I'm writing. You're always one moment away from a different life, one decision away. And how I was able to take who I was and how I was identifying and how I was able to flip that coin and start living a better quality life as a mother, as a wife.
Yeah. I
wanted to let other women know who were stuck in that rut that I'm a homemaker, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My job is to just take care of my babies and make sure, if I don't get dinner, it's okay. Or if I eat their leftovers, it's okay.
Yeah.
Or if I don't get the 20 minutes out of the day to decompress, it's okay because I'm mom and this is my new title. And I learned that it didn't have to be that way, that there is a balance. And when I became healthier, mind, body, and soul, I became better for friends, husband, children, and I wanted other women, not just women, but other people in particular to know that you can flip that coin. This isn't the space that you have to live in for the rest of your life. So for me, CrossFit was a huge mind-body composition and soul-searching change for me, and I wanted to give that back. That's why I wanted to coach. I didn't want other people to just give up and think that this was their new title as mommy or wife or even career, whatever it is, that had to consume them.
I like the quote that you said earlier, and I kind of have a philosophy. There's a quote, I wish I could remember the author of it, but it's like, do something for someone that can never repay you, or do something for someone once a day that can never repay you. And I have it on the bottom of my email or something like that. But it's, I like, paying it forward, right? As far as coaching, I've coached since high school, basically. I coached soccer, like little rec soccer.
Yeah.
I coached like little 9-year-old lacrosse girls when I was 17 with my friend because they needed rec coaches, and just kind of dabbled in that space. And it's fun kind of playing with kids, right? But then my brain likes to break things down, and how can I break this down into little pieces? And okay.
I know, I'm crying because it's like, because I don't think, I'm going to start to cry, Meagan. Oh,
it's okay.
Because I don't think for me specifically, I was like taking over as CEO of United Charitable and struggling with trying to get a charity out of COVID. And then I had this little blanket of an idea called Athletes Charitable.
Yeah.
And to bring United Charitable and Athletes Charitable. And I, for the life of me, did not think that, I don't know. I was like, should I really follow this dream? Like, it's a dream. Like, can I start a professional athletes division? Yeah. Right?
The thought is where it starts.
But it was also, remember, we have so many moments, and Tammy, we'll get back to this, but it was the same day that we came in and we first started, I was taking your class, and we did we were doing box jumps. Okay. When I started CrossFit, I couldn't do a box jump. Mm-hmm. Now I can do a box jump, right? And you gave me plates. Yeah. And I did 2 plates, right? And that's what we started with, just 2 plates. And you didn't make me feel bad. You didn't make me feel less than. Nobody in the class, other people were at so many different levels. I was with, oh God, what was her, Donna was her name? The yoga Dana. Yeah. And she was on plates, and somebody else was like, the box was turned the other way, so the highest possible. Like, we just had so many different levels, and it wasn't like, okay, Julia, let me go accommodate you. You were just like, start here. Yeah. And you didn't make me feel any kind of way about it. And then the next day I come in for your class, and we are doing bench presses off the floor. Okay. And I put up some weight. Like, I'm strong. Like, that's one of the good things. And you were like, damn, you were like, and so it was just really simple, the way that you were like, oh, well, no, you just start here and then you climb to the next step. Yeah. And the way you explained CrossFit to me was so perfect in the exact way that I needed to start thinking about Athletes Charitable. Okay. I don't need to figure out how to build this great department right now. I just need to figure out how to step on 2 steps. Yeah. Right?
That's fantastic.
And when I could take that lesson and turn it into my business, but it was just so impactful for me, the company now, like everything that we've built, department, 30 athletes. Like, so if you think about it, I didn't have that moment with you in that gym in that morning. Like, where would my mindset have been? Yeah. So when I started tearing up when you were like, why did you become a coach? I'm like, to inspire me and to create Athletes Charitable.
I could answer that question.
I was like, but yeah, so you probably don't know that story. Yeah.
Now I'm going to start crying.
And you probably don't know about like the plates, right? And like how you made me feel right in that moment was like not a way that I felt about starting a fitness journey ever anywhere else.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate that.
So what do you see most people struggle with when they come in to the gym or CrossFit or kind of even in your professional, like as a school counselor, like what do you really see as the struggle for people to get themselves on the path?
They look at the end first. And they don't look at, exactly what you just said, like all the little steps in between. And they don't give credit to the success that each of those little steps brings. Yeah. They're like, that's enormous. I can't do that.
Right.
And, I didn't wake up today to go to 5 a.m. class. I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I didn't wake up today. And they do that for like a week and they're like, oh, screw it.
I'm done.
Come back. Like, you're not done. You took a break. Come back. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to stop. It just, you had a little hiatus. That's fine. Just come back.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what I've witnessed along with those two is just confidence and comparison. Yeah. So confidence that we are easy to believe in other people's ability to do things quicker than we are our own. And the comparison to just think that if I walked into a CrossFit gym and Meagan was my coach and I'm going to think, oh, well, I can never be her. Look at her. She's fantastic. But she just said, I didn't see all the building stones that Meagan put in place on her journey to be there. So I think it takes those coaches to say, hey, let me give you a reminder. This is where I started too. This was my day one. And I think it's important as coaches to remember what our day one felt like, to remember what our week one, our 1 month, our 2 month, because you can easily fall into this routine of thinking, oh, well, a kettlebell's easy. Why can't you do this? And I constantly remind myself of what those pillars took to get where I'm at. Yeah. And that's what I want the people that I'm coaching. I want them to know that I'm empathetic and I understand exactly the space they're feeling right now.
Yeah.
And I think CrossFit, it's really interesting because it gives you a lot of other like life lessons.
Oh, yeah.
that you can apply to the real world just outside of fitness, like this idea of failure. And I've talked about this with both of you probably so many times. Like, what do you mean you could fail at a lift? Like, do you know the word failure is the worst thing in the world? Tell me how you guys feel about that word.
You tried. No, like, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of things I am scared to fail at. And so I may not try to do that. Like, I tried like sales at one point. I suck at that. So, you know, I'm like, oh, you don't want to buy this? That's fine.
I feel that, by the
way. There's always a good product out there somewhere. But something that I'm excited about and I want and I'm passionate about, well, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with failing. It's okay. It's okay with screwing up. Or, you know, sometimes it's not okay with failing, but it's just part of it, and just move on.
Yeah.
Right? People aren't going to hate you for it. People aren't going to make you hate you for making a mistake. Just fail safely. Try not to hurt yourself. Yeah. So, like, going into it knowing that this might not happen, that's fine. Like, you have a plan to bail. I'm speaking in broad terms here. This can be just more than CrossFit. Yeah. But, you know, knowing that it could fail, that's okay. And then you try again, or you adjust and you try again.
Yeah.
Right. So, but at least you tried, and then you're not stuck wondering, well, could I have done that one more lift? Could I have tried that one more thing?
Right.
You know, at least you're not like doubting yourself.
Yeah, I think for my answer, I try and remind myself, along with the people that I'm coaching, and especially the fact that we're in the competitive field, is sometimes all you see is people's highlight reels on social media, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just as important for us to show our moments too, because I would rather fail multiple times than to regret not even trying. Yeah. The would've, could've, should've. And I agree with what Meagan said. Why not? So you'll see, you know, if you put that out there on social media, you could see me. Will even knows this. When Will was in Shenandoah CrossFit with me one day, I could not hit a snatch to save my life. I'm just in my head about the lift, and I dropped that barbell so many times. Fail. But those failures got me to the success of a lift that I was aiming to get 2 weekends ago with a team event. So consistency of failing and building and failing and building and failing and building is forward rather than not trying at all. I feel like that, to me, the word failure is not trying at all. That's failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't know then.
Right.
Just like, as you said, if you would have never taken that dream process and started it.
Right. And it's just, and, you know, accepting that there's a journey. I think that's the hardest part for me personally on this whole game of life. Just literally, not just CrossFit, not just United Charitable, not just motherhood, but like this whole thing, it's a journey. Yeah. And I'm always so anxious for the destination. I'm always so anxious, what you just said, for the end, that like sometimes that I forget along the way that amazing things can happen.
Yes.
And all happen at kind of like the right time. Like it's kind of meant to be in that way, you know? And so, but one of the things that I've really noticed is working with you guys and talking to you guys is this, you guys take care of yourselves. And so tell me when, and I say that, I don't mean in like a vanity, I do mean in a vanity way, we're beautiful women, but
well, thank you.
But also too, you take care of yourself, you prioritize yourself, you take care of your body, your ailments. So tell me a little bit about your self-care.
I think in the beginning, I did feel that way. I felt like I was being selfish, finding that time out of the day to make myself a better person. And like you said, it's not just a look, it's also the mindset. And I don't feel that way. I think it's important for people to take a moment to make themselves, even if I'll go back to when I was a stay-at-home mom, if I put makeup on that morning, even the simple motion of putting makeup on that morning made me feel prettier to go about the rest of my day. Even if I changed out of my comfy clothes and put on normal clothes for the day, even if I was staying home, made me feel better about myself. So taking that over into the fitness journey, all the same emotions happen. If you can just wake up and start getting dressed, get your keys, go out the door, get in the car, and create that pattern of constantly bettering yourself as a human being, whether it's in the fitness industry, the coaching industry, or mother, wife, friend, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I think it's important for self-care in all aspects of the field, whether, like I just said, I'll use mind, body, and soul every time I speak, because every story we talk about CrossFit and what happened in the gym, 90% of it never has to do with the changes that happened to your body.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about those moments that changed us in a healthy way that we utilized into our everyday living, and it just made us healthier all around.
Yeah, I tell my family CrossFit makes me a nicer mom. Because it just allows me to like have time for myself, even though I'm surrounded by other people when I work out in the mornings or something. And I think so. My day job is a school counselor, and so my grad degree, they drilled in self-care. You know, in the schools, they drill in take care of yourself. And so in that field, you have to be able to compartmentalize the different aspects of your life so that you're not putting your, home stress out on the kids, right? They're super perceptive, but they just don't know how to interpret it. Because you're there to, help guide them and to connect with them, but to, let them kind of unload more than taking on your stuff. So, taking care of yourself for that, it's just kind of become, priorities in my life. So CrossFit became this opportunity to really take care of myself and have like a structured time to get the workout in, because I always want to work out or be active, and this gave me that structured time, and it really didn't disrupt with my family too much.
Because you get up at like 4:30 in the morning to go to your 5 a.m. class.
I'm a morning person.
I'm not.
Well, I learned morning person. But I just don't sleep much, and that's just how I am. But that has also, just like you said, Tammy, like translating it across your life, that has taught me to, really make self-care kind of more sacred, right? And also to not feel bad about that and not feel sorry for taking care of myself and, trying to make myself look pretty sometimes, and, general grooming, even just like locking myself in a bathroom and just taking care of just grooming it all. And then I feel better, and then I'm nicer, and then I'm happier to my family. And so it benefits everybody around me. But to not feel guilty to take that time to care for yourself, and, and then just overall like taking care of myself. And when I eat well, I feel better and stuff like that too. So just trying to have holistic, and then also not beating myself up when I have a crappy vacation eating plan. And that's fine, because I'm on vacation and it's okay. Mm-hmm. So.
And why do you think we are in such a place now where self-care is so hard for people?
Oh, I think because they don't utilize their time, or they don't realize where their time is gone. In a society today with the phones and all these apps and, things that you can just get sucked into watching video after video, or, I don't have TikTok, but any of those apps that you can just kind of go down that hole, and then you just realize the 45 minutes you spent on that, you could have used for yourself. You could have taken that 45 minutes and, prepped your food, or did yoga, or just taken it, read 10 pages of a book, or whatever it is, to make the quality of your life better. But I think instead we're distracted by watching how other people make their quality of their life better, instead of taking that time. And even if it's little, I don't think people realize 10 minutes. Meagan made me chuckle when she said lock herself in the bathroom. I mean, when you're a mother of young children, that's when they need you the most.
Mm-hmm. They're in the bathroom.
Yes. Yeah. So even if it is 10 minutes to be in silence.
Oh, yeah.
People sometimes say, why don't you, I drive in my vehicle and I don't put the radio on all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like that quiet space, because in our career, that music is, blasting so we can energize the room and the experience, but we're in it for hours. So when I get my car to drive home, it's a decompression. I just kind of decompress and turn the radio off. So I think people finding that time is there for them. They need to make an appointment, put themselves in the book, and keep that commitment for themselves and utilize that time for something that they want to do for self-care. And it could be something as little as putting lipstick on or whatever it is.
Yeah. To add on that, I think this kind of just came to my brain. Like we think of like being still as a way to relax and decompress, but sometimes even just preparation can help us like decompress, right? Or help us at least like calm some nerves, right? So like sometimes I clean when I'm stressed out because then I feel like I'm doing something and accomplishing something, right? So like you were saying, you make your food, right? It feels like a big task because you're like, I know how much I need to make. But you can, if you enjoy being in the kitchen, you can just take that time. And I put in like an audiobook and I just ignore people. And I'm like, let me just make my food and let me just listen to the audiobook and decompress a little bit. And then I feel better because like one, things are done. I know my mornings are going to go a lot better for that week. And then I also got to just listen to what I want to listen to and not watch the cartoons that are always on.
And you guys started talking really about, taking care of yourself and self-care. If somebody wants to change, what is the advice that you really give them when they first walk in the gym? I know, or when they're really starting their journey, what advice would you give somebody?
My advice is I'm going to go back to the reference of 2 bumper plates. Mm-hmm. That's all we want you to jump on today is 2 bumper plates. So I look at them and I say, what is your short-term goal? And they might say to lose 100 pounds. And I'm like, nope, that's a long-term goal. Give me even shorter. What are you going to do by tomorrow?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. Well, are you going to show up for class again tomorrow? Yeah. I'm going to come to the 9:00 class. Okay, that is your short-term goal. That's all I want you to focus on right now is show up at the 9:00 class tomorrow. Then you did, check mark. Great. What do you want to do by Friday? What's your short-term goal by Friday? Because then you're setting them up for success. Right? As Meagan said earlier, people see the end and they're like, wow, that's too far away. Food prepping, wow, a week is too much. Okay, great, food prep tomorrow.
Yep.
So keep it, and I hate using this word, but I use it a lot because I want to keep it stupid simple.
Yeah.
Just keep it so simple that you don't have to occupy so much space in your brain. Keep it like a beginner level book that you would give to a kindergartner. Mm-hmm. Show up for 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Yep.
Done.
I was going to say the same thing. It's just keep it simple and give yourself grace, right? So just small steps. And then when you don't accomplish one goal in the timeline that you want, it's okay. Stay with it. Set a new timeline, right? Just give yourself grace for that. We're not all going to hit those marks. We're not always going to do everything the right way, myself included. And, there are definitely some weeks, so I just stop at the grocery store and pick up a couple box salads, and that's about all I got. Yeah. And, give yourself grace. And yeah, that was exactly the same.
So wait, you're telling me you're not all organic, vegan, grain-free, grain-free, all of the...
No. I think for me, that would be too much occupation. That would take up too much of my brain space, and I would probably end up, falling back into old habits. Again, keep it simple. There's a saying, I don't even know whoever said it, but it sticks in my head. Made by man, don't eat it. Made by land, eat it. So if it breathed and it grew somewhere, so I'll look at someone and say, where did spaghetti grow from? What tree did that come off of? So no, I have to keep it simple. And I remind people all the time, perfection does not exist. Mm-mm. Perfection does not exist. Consistency is where we should live, because we know we're going to have those moments of vacation. And yes, I'm not going to speak for Meagan, but I'm going to have the ice cream. I'm going to have that alcoholic beverage that I might want of my choice, not all the time. But then when I come back home, I fall back into my consistent patterns and the choices that I make that keep me feeling good about myself and my goals.
Yeah.
What have you accomplished that you surprised yourself that you were able to accomplish?
I have something right off the bat because you had said something earlier in the podcast about, you want to be, how did you phrase that? You wanted to be a granny.
Oh, yeah, granny CrossFitter.
Yeah. So I'm 48 years old. My birthday was just at the end of the June 30th. So my first CrossFit coach, I was 38 years old. So about 10, 11 years ago, 37, 38, she was trying to get me to do the progressions of a handstand hold. And for some reason in my mind, and I'm going to explain how it felt for me at the time, I was a frumpy stay-at-home mom. I did gain weight. I didn't really put much care into the way I looked or the way that I felt because all of my energy was going into my children. And I literally looked at her and I said, I'm 38. I have no business being upside down. I have 2 perfectly good legs. Why would I not use them? Yeah. And I can now, do a handstand hold. I can do handstand push-ups, and I am consistently working on every chance I get to how to walk on my hands. So for me, it was taking that moment of thinking, nope, I'm 38. I'm too old. I will never get inverted, to, oh, wow, I wish I could go back and find that coach and tell her that I'm sorry and that I can now accomplish those goals. So for me, that's just what stuck out right away when you asked that question, like, hey, I can do a handstand. Yeah. So, there's that.
I don't want this to sound like snobby, but I don't think that there's anything I can't do. I just,
that's a mindset. And I don't think that's
such a badass.
Yeah, don't apologize.
Meagen. But I definitely think maybe things might take longer. And then when they don't, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I'll be happy about that. Like, I'm working on handstand walking and I've gotten a couple steps and I've gotten 6 feet so far. I'm like, all right, this is amazing. And then, the next time I try, I can barely get 1 step, but that's okay. I just keep kind of working towards it.
You've accepted that that's your journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I fight that all the time. I'm like, this is not my journey. No. It is your journey.
And the universe is constantly going like this.
I know. And you're like, wait, I guess. So, and then on the line of this, what changes have you helped other people make that has really just overjoyed you or really touched you?
I could go deep with that, or I think some of them we don't know. You just shared a moment
what you shared
with Meagan that she had no clue the impact that moment had on you.
Yeah.
So I think there are members, and I'm going to call them athletes. I just like to use that term because you're there and you're putting in the work at no matter what skill level. You're making that journey to get there. And I think that I've worked with athletes who I don't know. Unless they send me a private message or a note. So I have received cards, notes, private messages, one from you one time that was like, wow, what you said to me 5 hours ago at the gym really stuck with me. And I'm not sure if we'll bring that up in a minute. But for me, I think as a mother raising a daughter who has all these apps at her disposal, well, I mean, I control that, but we are in a society where certain things done on social media will get you more likes or followers. Right. You get what I'm saying here?
Yes.
So I love that my children, even my 10-year-old son, have been raised somewhat in a gym. They partake. I used to own a gym, so they would spend time there with me. And still during summer vacation, my kids will come to the classes that I coach and they're watching. And I think the athletes are making more of an impact on my children than what they think. And what I can get my daughter to see and my son to see from me and my willingness to see that it's okay to fail and it's okay to try again. And it's okay to take care of your body.
Right. And
it's okay to help others. And it's okay to compete with like-minded people exactly like you and have a fabulous friendship with them instead of looking at them as like they're my opponent. Right. It doesn't mean that we don't want to beat each other. I mean, the goal is to get on podium. Yeah. Right? That's the goal. But I'm going to celebrate her victories just as much as she's going to celebrate mine. Like when she messages me in 2 months and says, oh my gosh, I just walked 20 feet on my hands. I'm going to say, that is amazing. Way to put in the work and keep going towards your goals, even after failing multiple times. So for me, it's my daughter. It's my children. It's what I am teaching them and how am I changing their view of this life. My daughter, I feel she's a very humble and kind person, just like Meagan, but she has the same mindset as Meagan. Well, why can't I do that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, because my mommy mode's kicking in and you're climbing a rope and if you fall, and then I'm like, oh, but she saw me do it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to just say, okay, you're doing a great job, sweetheart. It's what I'm showing them. It's what I'm giving back to my children, to know that your life can take forms many different ways. Now, any athletes out there who want to share a little blip of how we have inspired them or changed them, I actually do tear up, what you just did, Julia, when I read these messages through my phone and they don't see it. They don't see my reaction because it doesn't happen in person. And I want them to know that when they do share their stories with me, like I said earlier, even if I was a sentence in a paragraph, it touches me because that is why I'm doing what I do.
Well, I will tell then the moment that there could be multiple ones, Tammy, but the one recently is that we have a member only page at Shenandoah Fit.
Yes.
And I really actually very much enjoy, I like lifting heavy. Like I like CrossFit. I hate all the cardio stuff. But I like the community of people. I like the lessons, the life lessons that it teaches you. I think it applies to so many aspects of your life with just the mindset of it, right? Like go as hard as you can. Like think about the workouts, like go as hard as you can for 10 minutes. You don't have to run a marathon today. Just go as hard as you can for 10 minutes. See if you can get through that.
And you're saying the keyword, go as hard as you can today.
Yeah.
And that might not always be a 10.
Yeah.
It might be a 5, and that's okay.
And so we were doing this progression and we were doing is this the moment that you're talking?
Well, there's two, but the deadlift one, she's very shy about sharing any kind of photo, video footage.
Again, for doing CrossFit for about 18 months now, I thought my journey would look different. I thought I would have lost a lot more weight by now. I thought all these other things, like I have, again, the end in mind. And I'm like, what do you mean it didn't take me 2 months to get, like, Meagan? But I have to look at the little victories along the way. And just as like the two, like jumping up on the 2 plates, when I actually did the box jump, that was a big moment for me. And I was like, oh my God, now I'm incorporating them in, like, now it's like, you don't think about it in the same way because you just know you can do it. So you just do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just a progression of where you've been and all that. And so we are doing a deadlift. And I was like, and I had somebody else, all of the coaches, just like to put on weight, like on the bar. So I don't know how much it is, right? So I was like, okay, Tammy, I'm only going to try this certain amount, right?
And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And all of a sudden I go up to do the deadlift. My personal record at the time was 285, like what I hit previously. We did about a 6 weeks.
We did a cycle.
A 6-week cycle. And then all of a sudden I hit 305.
I know. When you told me that before, I was like,
and she's still like, is that good? Did it look okay? Did I actually do the rep? Did this really just happen?
I was like, don't post it on Facebook. And then all the members of our gym, and then I get text messages from random people as well. And all these people are coming and go, badass athlete, look at you. Can't believe you did a 20 pound PR. You're in the 300-pound club.
And then I get a message that said, did you share the video? And I was like, yes, I did share the video on our members page for everybody to see your progress and how amazing you are at lifting.
And it was funny though, because then that's what makes me like CrossFit, because everybody has their different strengths.
Yeah.
Right. And we can all be together in a community and help each other with our different strengths. And when we have like that 3-person team, I'm your lifter, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else, you can row.
Definitely.
And you can row your little heart out with no problem. And I like watch Meagan row and I'm like, oh God, like that doesn't even, just breathing heavy. Like, is that even hard for her?
Is she sweating?
I was like, God. But like, that's one of those moments, and that you look back and you're like, okay, I may not be exactly where I want to be, but I'm still here. I'm still trying. I'm still moving towards something. I can do a box jump, which I've never been able. I'm deadlifting 305. Like there's progress here.
And Meagan said that earlier, and I feel that that's part of our role. When you can't identify the little goal, which I'm not going to call that a little goal, but she was talking about the little increments of the little progressions that you go through. And we forget to stop and say, how cool is this? You know, I had this moment, 2 months ago, I couldn't have that moment. And I just did that. It is our job as coaches. And that's why we do what we do, is to encourage those people. If you don't see your self-worth in that moment and what you just did, we're going to let you know.
Yeah.
We're going to let you know. And that's what makes us the person that's going to change that moment for you, because we're going to be like, wait a minute, Julia, go write that on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
What you just did was super amazing. And you are the reason, that moment for you is the reason I coach. So every time somebody in the gym gets their first, some people haven't jumped rope since high school.
Yeah.
And I give them a jump rope and they're like, I can't jump rope. And I'm like, well, let's just try and see what happens. And within 2 minutes, they're stringing them together. And I take that moment to let them know that that is amazing. And what you just did, you just talked yourself out of something. Yeah. And we're here to tell you that we believe in you, and you should believe in yourself the same way that we can see your strengths and your qualities and your space in this room.
Yeah. And Meagan, specifically, I'll say this, the mindset is important for you when you coach, and you talk about mindset when you're coaching as well. Why is that so hand in hand?
Well, our brains are so powerful. Like, they can, allow us to do anything or stop us from doing things. Right. So, and I think it goes into like my counseling background as well, of, you sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. So you got to tell yourself, like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Until you actually do it. And you're like, okay, that's true. And so you're like training your brain to then change, right? To then start believing these truths. We do that.
That's so big, Meagan. Like, wait, think about that. Like, that's so big what you just said. Like, taking it a step back. Like, you're not sure you can do it, so you try, you just get through it. Then it becomes proof that you can do it. Yeah. Now it's the truth.
Yeah. Because that self-doubt is going to keep speaking, but the voice that she's talking about has to be louder.
Yeah, you have to work to make it louder. Yeah. Right. I've had workouts where I have started crying in the middle of it. And I hate this workout. It sucks. I hate it so much. But I keep doing it. Right. So I'm like in the middle of like rowing, crying. Right.
She's like, okay, she'll remind herself, okay, just one rep at a time. I have to finish.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, when I tell myself I can't do it, then I stop and then I feel kind of like a failure, right? Yeah. Quote unquote failure. I feel like I've let myself down. But if I'm crying through it and then I still just like keep trying to do the reps and at least I finish the darn thing.
Right.
Yeah. Right? And so then I didn't stop. There's a success. And I told my brain, even though it was trying to convince me to stop, I told it like, nope. The truth is like, I can finish this. I can. Right. I don't know. I grew up around negativity and I decided I did not want to do that. And so I really try to fight hard against it. And, it's not easy.
No,
it's not easy at all.
It's change. It's huge change.
It's change. And, when you're just like, when you can't convince your brain, I try to think to moments in the past of, but you did, right? Or you did remember that time you did something you couldn't do, or you didn't think you could do. You did it. So you can do this, right? I reflect back a lot whenever I can to just like convince my brain. Yes, you can.
I think you just nailed it too, where with the confidence we gain in our workouts in the four walls of the gym and the people we surround ourselves by, and I think that's huge, the people that we surround ourselves by.
Absolutely.
When a difficult task happens in everyday life, which is always going to happen, life is always going to happen. The washing machine's always going to stop working, or the refrigerator or plumbing or whatever it may be. When life happens, I have learned to break it down exactly the way Meagan just spoke about that workout. Okay, well, there's no use me standing here 5 minutes cussing at a refrigerator that's not going to talk back to me.
Exactly.
Right? It broke. It broke. So it broke. What is the next step?
Yep.
So though that confidence, that skill set, that place that you put your space with your mind and your brain and thinking and processing through it, that is what translates over into everyday life. And I think that's what people's takeaway from CrossFit, not just like I said, we do work out, but there's so much more you gain from that experience that I became a better person, like we spoke about earlier, in life with that mindset. With doing that approach. And somebody once, again, I quote things and I never remember where they came from.
Either. I'm terrible about giving credit, but
it was something like, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Yes, I've seen that before.
And I'm like, oh, so you're gonna, confident over here telling Meagan she did amazing, but you're gonna stand over here and downplay your own ability.
Yeah.
To do something. And I don't know why we do that, but I think you and I are on the path we're on to let people know that it's okay to think of yourself in a positive light, where when someone says, can you do this? Your reply should be, let's find out.
Exactly.
I don't know, but let's find out. Not, no, I will never get upside down at 38 years old. I want to change people's mindset to, well, I don't know, but let's find out. Yeah. What have you got to lose?
All right, guys. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. I really admire you guys so much and everything that you do. And I really, Tammy, when I asked both of you to be on the podcast, right? We had the conversation.
Yeah.
Tammy's like, are you sure? I'm not, I don't really change. Like, I'm like, it's called inspired change makers. Like, you are a change maker. Not only have you changed yourself, you inspired others to change. But in the world of philanthropy and all that we do, we get to inspire people that, making the world a better place, whether it's through, again, like charitable programs or just being kind, just kind of what you said, being kind to people and really helping them reach what they want to do. I think you guys are wonderful, inspired change makers. And I thank you for being on today.
Well,
thank you.
And I thank you. I mean, the two of us would have never even known had that connection not been there through you too.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing Meagan out on that floor again, because she drives me to be a better athlete. And I thank you for that, for real.
Yeah. And thank you. This is such an honor. It's a huge honor to be asked to do this. Thank you so much, Julia. This is amazing.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Find Inspired Changemakers on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and comment on all the awesome things you are doing to make this world a better place. Don't forget to subscribe.